You know, I had a plan in which I wanted to do this. I wanted to write things down and have just this great video essay about the impact of 3D2Y. But for this moment, I just wanted to express exactly how it made me feel at the time. Because I'm somebody who got caught up before the time skip. So let's do this. If you're watching this video right now, drop when you got caught up to One Piece. Was it before the time skip? Was it, post time skip? I know a lot of people got caught up around Dressrosa, Marineford. When did you get caught up? Just drop that in the comments section because I'm intrigued. I'm curious to know how many people got caught up back then, because I think your experience in regards to 3D2Y would be vastly different from the people that, got caught up before it happened. So I'm going to give you guys quickly some context and how it was back then before he got caught up. I got caught up in Marineford, right? While Marineford was going on. When all that was happening, you can't imagine the emotions after Marineford transitioning to 3D2Y, not knowing exactly what was going to happen. Luffy had just got obliterated by everyone in Marineford for the most part, lost Ace, and now what was next, right? He got saved by Law. He's at Amazon Lily losing his mind. What was next? Of course, he remembered his friends, so that was the silver lining, but I wasn't sure what the hell was going on with the story because I was convinced that Ace would live. So now where are we? Rayleigh arrives, and I'm excited because I'm a huge fan of Rayleigh. Rayleigh's there. Luffy saying he's going to go back to Sabaody. We got to give Rayleigh some credit because Rayleigh had the foresight offering Luffy what I think ultimately saves his life, because if Luffy had just jumped into the new world without training, of course he wouldn't die, right? The MC's not dying, but he would be seriously underprepared for what was to come. How I view pre-time skip is like two halves, right? Throughout Luffy's journey, sometimes it felt like he was too strong for the sea he was going up against, or for the people he was going up against, right? In East Blue, nobody really had a chance for the most part. He dominated. Don Krieg, that's a legend, but Luffy, he ran through the East Blue, got to Crocodile, and through the help of his friends, more than anything, he overcame Crocodile. And not even a friend, an enemy in Nico Robin, right? Ultimately saved him, overcame that. I think the transition point, right? The Luffy versus Usopp, Demary, Enies Lobby, and Rob Lucci, in which Luffy barely overcame him. You started to realize that Luffy, there were glaring holes in his game, glaring holes in his fighting style. And you had to come to terms with, okay, when are they going to train? Do they actually need to train? Because even in Enies Lobby, Zoro said every island they go to, they get stronger. And Zoro, from Water 7 to Enies Lobby, said he's gotten several levels stronger. So at that point, it's like, they don't need to train. They just need to keep going to different islands. Then we get to like Thriller Bark, and that needed everyone to overcome Gecko Moria. And even then, Kuma pulls up, and then the Warlord shows up. Luffy's not strong enough to take on Kuma or Moria by himself and then have the strength to take on someone like Kuma. Zoro had to step up, and Zoro took the brunt of that, and they overcame that island. So the question I had in regards to Luffy, was he prepared? Was he ready for anyone that could come across him? In the back of my mind, I couldn't forget Smoker, where he couldn't touch Smoker, and then also Aokiji, who completely decimated Luffy. But he was endgame, right? Aokiji was someone they would have to fight later, much later. We get to Sabaody, and then as much as I was rooting for Luffy to completely decimate Sharlos, I was worried about the repercussions, because then they were sending an admiral there, and this admiral should be comparable to the admiral that completely dominated the Straw Hats by himself. Was Luffy ready? No. It was blatantly obvious Luffy was not ready in Sabaody. They all get sent away. Luffy gets sent to Amazon Lily. Everyone gets sent to their respective places. Ace gets captured. We then move forward to Impel Down. Luffy got dominated at Impel Down as well, but essentially he got saved. Vankov saved his life. Lost years of his lifespan, but saved his life. Damn. Luffy really is not ready for these top tiers. He's really headed to war. They go to Marineford, and Luffy really was a ragdoll. He was rallying everyone because of his demeanor and just him as a character, but he lost to almost everyone. He was beating up some, random marine fodder and some small rare admirals and things like that, but everyone else was really getting the best of him. So Luffy, with his sheer tenacity, was able to get through and save Ace, even though Garb kind of, whatever, saved Ace. Well, he got Ace free. Ace ultimately died. And then, again, we're at Amazon Lily, because then his life had to be saved again by Law. So I'm like, man, Luffy's having all these really life-threatening situations because he's just not strong enough. Even at Marineford, Smoker got the best of him, but Hancock had to save him. Is the gap still that big, where Luffy really can't compete? Tenacity and sheer will can only get you so far. And I think in Marineford, that was very clear. We can debate, however, Ace died, reasons why Ace died. Ace turned around. Luffy fell. He stumbled. because he was not strong enough. He was tired. He overexerted himself. What's next? When he said he was about to meet up with his crew again, I was like, man, hopefully Kuma is in there. Well, not Kuma, but more so the admirals. Hopefully he doesn't run into any of these admirals before Fishman Island. Again, shout out to Silver's Rayleigh. He understood Luffy's path. It takes a lot sometimes to come to someone and almost just tell them, you're not ready. You're not strong enough. We saw what happened. Do you think this is what you should do right now? I have a suggestion, but it's certainly up to you whether or not you accept. I think that's the most brilliant thing ever. And I think also the best buildup in regards to a time skip, because it was such a shift in everything. I think Oda did a great job of not only showing us what was changing for the Straw Hats, but also for everyone else. With the death of Whitebeard, the end of the old era, the start of a new era, not only for the Marines, but also the revolutionaries and certain pirates, everything was changing. And so giving us this 2-year time skip, 3D2Y, for the Straw Hats to grow individually so that they can be stronger as a group was perfect. Now, that month of no One Piece was excruciating. It was excruciating because the Straw Hats, they're individually trying to get stronger. But before all of that, you saw Blackbeard had Bonnie, Akainu showed up. Law talked about, if there's an opportunity, he's going to take it. X-Drake, he's going after Kaido saying, this makes things simple. Kid was saying he's not going to let Luffy take all the headlines. This was one of the most exciting times in One Piece. It was just so much anticipation for what was to come. You can contain my excitement. Every single week, I was going to my website to see exactly when the chapter was coming out, when it was going to drop. Now, return to Sabaody. I don't think I've ever had as much anticipation as I had for that chapter. The chills. Right? Even when I read the chapter to this day, seeing Luffy return for his hat and the detail Oda put into that moment, it's mind-blowing to know this was 10 years ago. And that's the whole purpose for this video, in which I wanted to revisit this and give my thoughts on the impact of what happened and the impact not only it had on me, but on the story. This was absolutely needed. And it couldn't have come at a more perfect time. It was a changing of an era. And Oda made sure that the Straw Hats, they changed as well. So 3D2Y, I wasn't sure how strong Luffy was coming out of the time skip. I know how weak he was, right? I know what he couldn't do going into it, but coming out of it, I'm like, he's had all this time with someone Shakistead, which it could have been hyperbolic, was 100 times stronger than them. When you think about it, I don't know if it's hyperbolic because Luffy would get one shot by Rayleigh back then. Some people are saying Luffy get one shot by Rayleigh post time skip. Debatable. Coming out of the time skip? No, I don't think he's getting one shot. People are going back to the anime moment where it showed Luffy versus Rayleigh and then it ended once Rayleigh punched Luffy. But like I said, Luffy in a life or death battle as opposed to Luffy sparring is a different thing because the tenacity of that man is just, he built different. But anyway, I digress. Coming out of it, Oda did a great job of giving you an idea of how much the Straw Hats have grown. We remember pre-time skip, they all basically had to push it to the limit to barely beat one pacifista. Post time skip. That moment, too slow. And then Gear 2nd is better now. He completely freaking teleports, and that scene was done so well because he hit the pacifista and the impact wasn't immediate. It was a slight delay. And I'm talking about the anime here. The manga version was great as well, but in the anime, when that was done, was just amazing. And it was like, holy shit, Luffy is now strong enough to one-shot a pacifista that the entire crew could not defeat pre-time skip. So Luffy essentially went from struggling with someone like Moria, where the entire crew had to come together to defeat someone like Moria, to now he's probably low-diffing Moria. With Rayleigh having the foresight to see that Luffy couldn't compete with the top tiers because Luffy couldn't even touch the top tiers. He was giving him a foundation, a base, so that he can at least compete and have something to build upon. And that goes for all the Straw Hats. With Zoro, Sanji, Robin, Nami, they were getting put in a position in which they can compete because back then they couldn't. I'm actually gonna get to some responses really quickly because I posted on Twitter. I wanted the best responses as far as like the impact of post time skip, the 3D2Y time skip. And for people saying, well, damn, I didn't see it because I'm not on Twitter. Well, follow me on Twitter, damn it. Follow me on Twitter at BragoDAce and you can participate in things like this and give your thoughts and possibly be featured in the video. Go follow right now. So 10 years later, chapter 989, right? That's where we are. Chapter 988 going into chapter 989. You understand why this had to happen. For Luffy, he had to he had to grow. He had to mature as a leader, more so as a fighter. Oda needed this time to put things in place. Where I think the Straw Hats has gotten to a point where they were barely getting past these opponents. If they start getting past some of these opponents in a new world, it's not going to resonate as much, and I think sometimes it could insult you. Some people complain about that now, but imagine if they didn't have a time skip, if they went into the new world without training and still getting past people like Doflamingo, like Katakuri. That wouldn't resonate with the fan base. There's still things in regards to the 2 years we don't know that much about, where we have an idea, like the Akainu versus Aokiji stuff, the Blackbeard stuff. So many things change in that 2 years. I think it was honestly perfect. I'll end my personal thoughts with this. I think that moment of reflection was needed, not only for Luffy, but for the Straw Hats, in which they had to look at themselves and realize that they were not good enough, were not strong enough. It was a renewed ambition for all of them, especially Zoro, sometimes swallowing your pride and saying, even though you're my goal, the person I want to defeat the most, I'm willing to put my pride aside for my captain. All the Straw Hats had to look in the mirror, even Usopp, right? And say, okay, how can I get better for him? Because part of the reason why we went through this was because, not only because he wasn't strong enough, but because we weren't as well. So not only overcoming the pain of loss, but showing just how much you can grow through it. And I think that's what the Straw Hats did. And again, 3D2Y 10 years later, looking back at it, still one of the greatest moments in One Piece and a perfect transition to a new era. Now we're going to get to the comments from Twitter because I have a lot. I can't get to all of them, but we're going to try to highlight the best ones and ones that I think resonate and, just show how people were feeling back then. Again, follow me on Twitter if you want to participate in things like this. Sometimes I put it in the community tab, sometimes I put it on Twitter. So just follow me there so that you can stay abreast and stay updated in regards to things like this, because these are great conversations you can have with other people in the comment section, or in the comments, in the replies, I should say, and you don't want to miss it. So let's get to some of the replies. At Trevor Tiger, my guy, says, it got me into video making in the first place because Dressrosa alone inspired me to engage with the community. Through the second half of One Piece, I've gotten to meet and talk with a lot of the community, and that feeling of happiness will probably never go away. I understand that absolutely, because that's part of the reason why I started making One Piece videos, I think around Dressrosa or coming off of Dressrosa. So yeah, it inspired me as well. Wheezy, my guy, says 4-week break, long anime wait, to see them transformed now on a journey to change the world still makes this one of the best time skip reveals in manga. I agree 100%, Wheezy. Again, the wait to see what was going to happen, how things were going to shake out, it was excruciating. I was going crazy for that month. Because I was in awe. I was shocked that Oda would do this at that time when things were getting so interesting. But it was perfect. My guy at Commodore Lad says, I still love it from the first time I experienced it to the 100th time rereading it. By this point, my connection with the Straw Hats was at an all-time high, so to see them finally reunite after the Summit War Saga solidified the crew as my favorite protagonist group ever. I couldn't have said it better myself. The connection to the Straw Hats grew, because it takes a lot, again, to walk away and understand that you're not as good as you probably thought you were. At Sim the Hero says, the thing I was looking forward to the most was getting to see the crew sit down and talk about the things that happened to them, and that is what I've been waiting for the most since the time skip. Now, a lot of that hasn't happened. It seems like for that to happen, things would have to get revealed that we're not ready to know about yet. I was talking to some of my friends about it, right? And we were talking about how Oda could, in the epilogue, give us those moments in regards to the Straw Hats talking about things amongst each other that he doesn't show. Because a lot of the time that's transpired in regards to post-time skip has been through travel, right? Through days of travel and getting to Wano, to Whole Cake Island, from Whole Cake Island back to Wano, right? A lot of interactions are happening then, we just don't see it. So in the epilogue, at the end of One Piece, if we see those things, would it be that bad? I know that's something that people really want to see, more crew interaction. Ed Sanga M099 says, not any shonen will top it, peak fiction. I couldn't agree more. Like, as far as the time skip, I don't think it could be handled any better than this. At Zarkon Lord says, the story had been shifting for some arcs now, and this is when it came to a head. You could feel that the world was changing and that things would be different afterwards. The excitement was off the charts. At One True Air 1 says, I was in my freshman year of high school when this was coming out, and I sincerely think this was and still is powerful. Agreed. At SPK123_ says, it's been a while to bear with me. The time skip was 4 to 6 weeks if I remember, so the anticipation was crazy. If I remember correctly, between Kuma splitting them and Luffy returning from training, it was around 2 years in real life too, so September 8th, 2008, 513, October 4th, 2010, 598, Oda. Oda likes doing things like this. You love to see it. At Vinland Ragnar, my guy says, well, the Straw Hats are all back together again for the first time in a long while, but they haven't really had a moment yet similar to Sabaody. Maybe it will be the reverse of Sabaody this time around, or maybe the Alliance will lose here, making Onigashima the new Sabaody. That's a really interesting way to look at it, Ragnar. I think it could be, because that's been a popular theory floating around, but I'm not sure. Really not sure. We'll end it off with this. At New World Arthur, from the Library of Ohara, he says, it's weird to think how much we've all literally grown since then. When this happened, I was still in elementary school, entering middle. When this happened, I printed out pages of the post-Timeskip designs and showed them to my friends at school. Everyone was so shocked. Good times. And Shonen Senpai sums it up really well. One word, legendary. But yeah, guys, that's it. I think everyone pretty much agrees in regards to 3D2I. It's just a great moment to reflect upon, especially 10 years later. Like 10 years ago was when this happened. Imagine just how different, or just not imagine, you know how different your life was 10 years ago, or where you were in life. That is insane to think about. But guys, give me your thoughts. How did you feel about 3D2I? How does it make you feel now? Do you think there were shortcomings from this moment, or did it blow you away and still does to this day? Like the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Like I said, follow me on Twitter at BragoDAce, and also follow me on Instagram at BragoD.ace, because I will be posting things there as well, as far as like polls and just comments and wanting to get your feedback. So follow me there as well. Thank you to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for all the support. Guys, this is great. It was great and reflect and really fun. We will do things like this in the future. Just for milestones that's happening in regards to, also happy birthday to Dadan. Her birthday was a few days ago. So happy birthday to Dadan, the true mom of Luffy, Ace. Well, you know what? That's disrespectful to Rouge. The mom, the person who raised Luffy, Sabo, and Ace. So shout out to Dadan. But yeah, for moments and milestones, we'll try to create videos around it because I think it's good to reflect. I think it's a perfect time to start reflecting on One Piece. The story that we've come to love, it's gotten to a point where like, yo, 3D2I was 10 years ago. 10 years, right? But anyway, make sure to like, subscribe. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.